Hi, it's great to be here once again. We're taking a look at a post-analysis of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, so don't go away. Okay, so just before we get stuck into the stats, which are really, really good, I must admit, this week, after looking at Cyber Monday and also Black Friday, a few interesting things happened this past week. I think one of the best highlights for me was the fact we took a look at, we had a Q&A session for masterclass lessons participants, and it was great. The first one we've ever run, it was in North America, in the time zone, did it virtually. We had a whole select sort of group of people there, which is really good. And they came and heard a short presentation from yours truly. I gave them some sort of sneak previews of, and some other interesting stats, which was a little bit different to normal as well. And then we had a great time of just questions and answers. Just answering all the questions you may have always wanted to ask about domain monetization, and I took a look at that, and that was a great time. I must admit, it was really good just to connect with people, and I was so excited about that. And we're running another one in Europe. So if you saying to yourself, I'd love to get into a Q&A session for the European one, even if you're in America, that's fine, whatever time zone works for you, then please straight away contact me and we can send you the details for the Zoom conference call, and you can just come and join us at the video call. And it was a great time. Yeah, so and we think of running these on a semi-regular basis and everything for those people that are interested in really expanding their knowledge about domains and the domain industry in particular. So, but without further ado, actually I should say something else, and that is, I must admit the numbers has been going ballistic, and we'll see that shortly in a minute or so, but it's been really phenomenal time. So let's take a look at those numbers and see what they're telling us. So here we go. Monetization industry update, 11th December. I cannot believe, I think this is my 35th one of these I've actually done so far. So there's a lot of them in the archives. It'd be interesting to go back at the archives and find out like what I've been saying over this time, whether I was really good with my predictions or not. But let's take a look what's going on. So the normalized RPM and RPM trends. And we can see that they're both actually matching at the moment. Remember, they're using different axis scales. So we want to take a look at that slope though towards the end there. So there's a big spike there for Cyber Monday and everything. You can see that here. Right about there, Cyber Monday in the normalized RPM and RPM. And the next thing is the EPC and CTR, so it's earnings per click and click-through rate. This is where a lot of our earnings really hang off, and it's better to see it. I always find this chart's actually quite difficult, but the next one's easier. And this is the 14-day moving average, and you can see the EPC suddenly surge forward. And the reason for this is is really off the back of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where there's a massive demand for traffic. The advertisers wanting to push those prices up, and yet the click-through rate was quite flat still on the average. So I think that we'll probably see a crossover here next week, which will be interesting to see how long that is sustainable for. So there's EPC, CTR, volatility. And as could be expected, see these spikes here. On the average across the last week, we're in an expansionary phase. So the industry is expanding in terms of performance, looking at that normalized RPM and percentage changes and everything, comparing one weekday compared to the previous weekday. And which is great, which is it's good to see an expansion. Obviously, you can't expand forever. We'll see how it moves forward. So since the very, very beginning of this year, January 1, so what's actually happened? And you can see there's been a continuous expansion. So if you had 1 RPM at the beginning there, then we're up to about 170 RPM now, normalized RPM, across that period of time. which is a good result. Now, once again, normalized RPM can get impacted by things such as reduction in traffic, so more filters and that sort of stuff. Same revenue, more filters. So, but still, it's not a bad journey to be going on. So, where's all the revenue going? And percentage of revenue split, and you can see that right here, the direct advertisers were going up. It could be seen to be flattening off a little bit at the end here, and Google sort of fighting back a little bit. But so that's the revenue split between them. For some reason, and I'm trying to work this out on my chart, it's not showing the axes at all, but it's about a 70-30 split. So where's the traffic going? Google, once again, is taking the lion's share of the traffic. So even though the revenue may be split 70-30, right now it's about an 80-20 split in terms of traffic. So Google's monetizing 80% of the traffic. So that hasn't changed. But this is the chart that I always hang out for. This one and the next one. It is what is happening with the normalized RPM. And you can see the normalized RPM just here. It's really, if you look across this period of time for Google, which is in blue, it's flat. It really is. It's basically flat across there. But take a look what's going on for the normalized RPM for the direct advertisers. It's really kicking up, and it really is marching forward, which is fantastic. Is what we all want to see. You put these on the same graph, and it puts things into perspective on the same axis. I'm using the right-hand axis here so we can see the numbers a bit easier, and you can see here. Look. The direct advertisers are really breaking out with what they're paying for traffic. So if you have your domain traffic not exposed to direct advertisers, you're missing out. You really are. You need to get in on that. Google's is flat compared to these guys. These guys are really surging forward, and I think it's a lot of the effort of them diversifying where they place the traffic, what market verticals. For a lot of these direct advertising networks are beginning to pay off, and when those existing old verticals such as travel, finance, and so forth, when they kick into gear next year, I think we're going to see a really big turnaround for direct advertisers. I think we're going to be up where it was at even the middle of this year, or early parts of this year anyway, in no time. But anyway, so what's actually happening here? That's the previous week. This is the straight line analysis of is there a trend upward or downward, or is it flat? As my strategic management lecturer in my MBA used to say, that's all I care about: up, down, flat. And and you can see here that's the previous week. The direct advertisers really surging forward, but now. They've actually flattened off a bit, and Google, it's relatively flat as well. So they're basically a little bit flattened off after Cyber Monday, which is not that unexpected, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in the coming weeks ahead. Okay, so where is all the energy and juice coming from in terms of the expansionary phase? And you can see right there, it's hard to see on the little tiny graph, so sorry about that. And you can see it's really the red line, the direct advertisers, has been largely above the line, that 100% line. Anything below the 100% line is a contraction in the payout rates. Anything above is an expansion. So it's really been the direct advertising networks of expanding. They've come back down to about 100% or so just recently, because you can't get a perpetual expansion. And you see that both Google and the direct advertisers, Google less so, have been expanding the first half of or the end of last week and so forth. But this week, it's just contracted back a little bit, springing back forward. Yeah, so it's, like I said, it'd be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Okay, so this is an interesting chart where, once again, it's based upon, if we took a look at what happened in, if we sent some traffic to Google, where would we be at now? Compared to the very beginning of the year in terms of normalized RPM, it's really surged forward, although it's off a very small base. So it's sort of like going 0.1 to 0.6, which is great, but it's for a small base. And the direct advertisers were off a larger base, and so they're slowly swinging around. And we saw that in the previous chart as well. Of hopefully we'll get back to where we were at the beginning, towards the beginning of this year. So don't forget, ParkLogic's there. It's always there. Been there for like 13 years. Monetizing the domain traffic. It's really for the professional investment community. If you're doing less than realistic less than $1,000 a month in revenue, then it may be better to go elsewhere. But if you're a professional investor and you're sort of saying, yeah, that's me, I want to earn more money, give us a call. And don't forget my blog. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to my blog. There's so many videos, so many articles from over a decade of blogging and vlogging. So lots of good stuff there. And masterclass lessons. If you haven't looked at masterclass lessons, go and look at masterclass lessons. Can't encourage you enough. Even if you think, oh, I'm an expert, you may get surprised. Think, oh, gee, I never thought of that. And I'm looking forward to the new year because I plan on adding some more articles to masterclass lessons. Well, not just articles, but more lessons and things like that. But anyway, it's been great being here for another week of what's happening in the domain monetization industry. Look forward to seeing you next week. I hope you enjoyed that video and you find them really valuable for your business and helping you make better decisions. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or pass the video on to your friends. Anyway, thanks a lot for that. Have a great day. Bye.